Pokemon investors, beware. Do not invest in the Team Rocket set, or Surging Sparks, or any exciting new set just announced by Pokemon. Because even though these are some extremely exciting announcements from the Pokemon Company, and even though all of these sets have incredible long-term potential, they are likely to trap you in the most common mistake I see new Pokemon investors and collectors make: buying into the hype. If you're a Pokemon investor, you need to actually make money from your Pokemon purchases. And buying an exciting new set right when it releases is actually the fastest way to lose money in Pokemon. This is because of the same market dynamics we see over and over again with new set releases, caused by a combination of supply and demand, plus our natural human psychology, which confuses and misleads us. These factors come together to create launch hype, the predictable market movements for every new set and product release. In this video, I'm going to make sure you understand exactly what launch hype is and teach you how to use this understanding to get the most from your hard-earned collecting dollars. Let's get into it. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the TCG Buyers Club. My name's Gray, I buy cardboard, and I make collecting and investing in Pokemon simple. It's always exciting when a new set releases, when everyone in the Pokemon community is excited to collect something new that just hit the market. But although this may be a fun time to collect, it's actually the worst time to invest. I've spoken before about how the Pokemon market is driven by hype and how you can use your understanding of collectibles hype cycles to time the market. I'll link to my complete video on this topic in the description below, but the main takeaway is that you want to buy when hype is low. And not surprisingly, right when a new set releases, the hype for that product is already at a peak, a point where prices have nowhere to go but down. Even the great sets with the most long-term potential suffer the impacts of launch hype. So, understanding what launch hype is and how it fits into the collectibles hype cycle is essential to making the best investments in the Pokemon market. Now, before I continue, if you like detailed Pokemon market analysis, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss future videos. Launch hype is the market phenomenon we see repeated over and over again with the release of new Pokemon products. It's created by the supply and demand dynamics that are guaranteed by the nature of a new release, but it's exaggerated by our natural human psychology. When a new set or product is released, supply is guaranteed to be at an all-time low. This is the first print wave of the product, and any reprints will only increase the supply from there. On top of that, since it's a brand new set or product, no one has any of the cards or products that they might want to add to their collection. This makes everyone in the Pokemon market a potential buyer. Demand is at an all-time high right at release. This combination of low supply and high demand creates the high prices that we see with the new release of a set or product. And from this peak hype at launch, it's only inevitable that the hype slowly fades and the prices fall down with it. For one, the collectors start buying, and as they add cards and products they're chasing into their collections, they satisfy their demand and the overall market demand decreases. But on top of that, as future product releases and print waves of product drive up the supply, the prices are pushed down even lower. The speed at which any new launch goes through its launch hype phase depends on how popular the set is and how quickly the Pokemon Company releases new print waves, if any. For many sets, launch hype will subside by the time Pokemon's next major release hits the market, when the hype will shift to the next new thing. But for top-tier popular releases, it can take a lot longer, a year or more. What's most important to understand is that before the collectibles hype cycle can start, launch hype needs to end. And a great example of this was the release of Chilling Reign back in June of 2021. Chilling Reign was the second set in the Sword and Shield era to include alt art cards and was immediately loved by the Pokemon community at launch. Prices started high for Chilling Reign booster boxes and continued to rise following the release as that initial print wave was consumed and Pokemon fans wanted more. And yet, by December 2021, that same year, only a few months later, the story couldn't have been more different. Chilling Reign booster boxes were everywhere and they were cheap, with some eBay sellers listing booster boxes for $79.95, as reported by PokeKnowledge Cards on this live stream from December 9th, 2021.
As you guys could probably tell by the title of this video, we're just going to talk about current prices for some of these really cheap modern booster boxes. We thought $83 for Battle Styles was pretty cheap, but we already saw Chillin' Reign and now Battle Styles even at $79.95 a piece.
So what happened to create this dramatic change in the market for Chilling Reign? It's exactly what we've been discussing. Additional print waves shocked the market, and with a surge in supply came the expected drop in prices. But beyond that, the next set released was Evolving Skies, the top set from the Sword and Shield block. And that was shortly followed by the incredible 25th anniversary set, Celebrations. So while supply increased, the market actually moved on to these new sets, causing demand for Chilling Reign specifically to tank. This is classic launch hype market movement. But what makes this even more interesting is the change in market sentiment that accompanied the drop in prices. At release, people genuinely liked the Chilling Reign set. Its Galarian Moltres V and Blaziken VMAX alt arts were stunning and an instant hit with collectors. But despite this, as soon as Chilling Reign booster boxes were widely available and cheap, the market commentary started to suggest Chilling Reign was maybe a bad set. This was a baffling change in sentiment over just a mere 6 months. And this is where the human psychology comes in with launch hype. The cognitive biases that exaggerate the impact of launch hype market dynamics. There are two cognitive biases that I find have a huge impact on the Pokemon market and help explain the drastic changes we see during launch hype. The first is scarcity bias, and the other is the price quality heuristic. Scarcity bias says that humans value scarce or rare items more highly, which means we also value less scarce and widely available items less. The price quality heuristic, meanwhile, says that we tend to believe more expensive items are of higher quality. We see this all the time with luxury brands who use high prices as a tool to convince customers that their products are of superior quality and value. With Pokemon, these cognitive biases contribute to the exaggerated movements we see in both market sentiment and prices. At launch, popular new sets are relatively scarce and more expensive. So these cognitive biases combine to lead us to value them more highly. But as demand goes down and supply goes up, the products become widely available and cheap. And our scarcity bias and the price quality heuristic get triggered in the opposite way, causing the average collector to quickly undervalue these products. This is the combination of market factors and human psychology that took us to the $79.95 Chilling Reign booster boxes. But what has happened since then? Let's take a look. From that market low point, we've seen a steady climb in prices back to $200 a booster box. This is the standard appreciation pattern we see for a great sealed product in a stable collectibles market. But this standard appreciation pattern can only begin after launch hype has ended and the product has hit that bottom price. And as a Pokemon investor, one of the greatest opportunities we have is to build positions right as launch hype has ended and the market reaches this peak delusion. When a set has finally saturated the market and is widely available, and our cognitive biases cause the market to undervalue the product and become blind to its future potential. I call this abundance blindness. To the experienced collector or investor, understanding launch hype allows you to more easily spot abundance blindness and can help you take action. Here's a recent example of this phenomenon: Japanese Pokemon 151 booster boxes. See, the Japanese 151 set had been a hit since its launch in June 2023. In addition to being an extremely nostalgic set featuring the original 151 Pokemon, the inclusion of the special Master Ball reverse holo cards, of which collectors only got one per booster box, created an extra layer of value to the set and helped drive high prices for the booster boxes. What was surprising about this set was that after the initial print waves failed to meet demand, we didn't see more supply hitting the market. Nearly a year after its release, it started to seem like those additional print waves were never going to come. But then, in June of 2024, the mother of all print waves finally hit. It was huge! And prices for sealed booster boxes of Pokemon 151 fell from the highs of $200 or more to as low as $47 a box on Sneaker Dunk. And when the news of this reprint dropped, it was all anybody would talk about. Pokemon creators, including me, all jumped on the bandwagon, providing our interpretations of what the reprint news meant and how you could prepare for it. As such a valuable and scarce set, the market was a little obsessed with the Japanese version of 151. But our cognitive biases are surprisingly consistent, and as Japanese 151 became widely available and cheap, the commentary just disappeared. I guess the product was boring. Even though everyone agrees it's an amazing set, and not that long ago, the Japanese 151 set was the center of attention. It never fails to be crazy to me how quickly the market forgets about products when they become widely available and cheap. And this is abundance blindness. Or at least that's what I think. And as always, none of this is financial advice. I'm just a basement dweller who loves studying the economics and psychology affecting the Pokemon market. Please do your own research. But when I saw abundance blindness hit for the Japanese 151 set, I started building my position. I think the Japanese 151 set has great long-term potential, and so I couldn't say no to those low market prices. And if there are more reprints from here, and if the price goes down even lower, I may just buy more, because my bet is that this is the market low point from where the standard appreciation pattern will begin. So I took action. And this brings us back to all the exciting new teasers and set announcements from the Pokemon Company. Trainers Pokemon, Team Rocket, Surging Sparks, and honestly, whatever exciting news comes next. As these sets get released, remember the dynamics of launch hype, and don't buy into the hype. Expect that early surge of demand and relatively low supply, and watch as time passes, new sets are released, new print waves hit the market, and the market sentiment moves towards that point of peak delusion, the abundance blindness. With this understanding, you'll be able to notice and deflect the cognitive biases that most of the market is a slave to. You'll be able to observe the market movements objectively, recognizing the delusional euphoria when hype is high, and be able to spot the buying opportunity presented by abundance blindness when the price and hype is low. And then you'll be able to take action and build your position. This is easier said than done. Regardless of the investing market, placing your bet when everyone else is scared has always been one of the most difficult tasks for an investor to take. But understanding the launch hype pattern and the collectibles hype cycle gives you the logical firepower to actually do it. And of course, this advice is for Pokemon investors who are looking to minimize risk and maximize their returns on their Pokemon purchases. You better believe I'll still be buying packs to rip from all of these upcoming sets as they release, but I'll be doing it as a collector, and I won't be investing in any products until I've seen the launch hype end and the market get consumed by that abundance blindness. If you like this kind of Pokemon market analysis, then don't forget, give me a thumbs up and subscribe and hit that bell so you can be sure to catch all of my future videos just like this one. And of course, thank you so much for tuning in to the TCG Buyers Club. My name's Gray, I buy cardboard, and I'll see you in the next video.